Hey, what's up, y'all? I see we got some people coming in this evening. Hey, let us know where y'all are checking in from.
Hello.
What's up, everybody? I see people are tuning in here. We're going to get started in 1 second. We're going live on Facebook now in the Blam fan page.
Yeah.
And the missus here is getting herself situated.
What's wrong with that? Why is that like that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, what's going on?
Hey, let us know where y'all are checking in from. I see somebody said they love your head wrap.
Thank you. Thank you. You know how it was. I don't know if you know how it is, child. You've been trying to put it on and you got to take it off about 3-4 times before it get right. So I appreciate that because I had to. Okay, is this?
You about to jack it all up. Like before we even start, you about to jack it up.
Well, can you help me?
I don't know what to do. I mean, you're supposed to be.
You saying, is this, did you go live with this?
I did, man. I did.
This is a post.
You must have done something different. I
no,
went live
I'm
with
not.
it.
I'm
all right, y'all. Give us 1 sec.
We don't have to give us 1 sec. Go ahead and start.
We are starting. We start. I'm just saying, give us 1 sec because you over here preoccupied with your Facebook page.
Preoccupied. Carry on, brother.
All right. So look, y'all. Today we got a really interesting topic when it comes to relationship enhancement. Okay, I see Woodbridge, Virginia is in the house. Tallahassee, Florida. What's up, y'all? Chicago is checking in too. What's up, y'all? So today's topic, y'all, is a really interesting one because it's something that impacts and affects a whole lot of people. Yeah. Hey, before we get started, we're going to say this. Just go ahead and share this video right here because we're going to jump into something tonight that hopefully will bless your relationship. Will also bless you individually. So please share, please like, please share, because the more the merrier. And of course, we're going to take some questions along the line. We always love the feedback. Yeah. We always love the energy. It feeds our spirit as we do this live stream. So please share so we can get this party started.
Yes.
So let us know where you're checking in from. Also, let us know, y'all, what we're drinking. What are you drinking tonight?
What's going on with, why you ain't got no music?
I just ain't started the music yet.
What you doing?
I'm not ready to start the music. Let us know what you're drinking tonight, y'all.
Music on. Come on. So what are you drinking, my dear?
What I'm drinking, y'all, is something called an Incredible Hulk. Let us know if you can hear us okay. It's called an Incredible Hulk. An Incredible Hulk is Hypnotic and Hennessy mixed together. Oh, thank you. Keisha said that we're awesome.
Oh, thank you. Hold up, y'all.
Hey, what's up, Cheryl?
We gotta let him hear the music. I just actually heard this song for the first time the other day, and I've been playing it. It's called "I'm Blessed" by Charlie Wilson. I'm not really a big Charlie Wilson person.
Why not?
I don't know. I just think he probably a little bit. Thank you, Christina, for sharing the video.
Okay, you don't have to reach across me to do it.
I think he's probably a little bit, he's your generation.
What that's supposed to mean?
But I like this.
Hold up, y'all.
I'm blessed.
I want to know what you mean by it's my generation.
Oh, I'm blessed, yes. I like that. Y'all like that? Hey. All right, guys, we appreciate you sharing. I'm blessed.
Wow, Antoinette, she shared in 9 married groups. We appreciate that, Antoinette.
Thank you. All right, so this evening, we are going to be talking about something that many people probably can identify with on some level. It is something that folks sometimes try to fake like they ain't dealing with. Sometimes people, thank you, Antoinette. I think that some people really, can you turn that down?
But you can't hear yourself?
It's distracting me.
1 minute you want to have it on, but hold up. Before we go into what you're about to say, I know you was about to say something, but you said this is a part of my generation. What that mean? We are part of the same generation.
You older than me.
I'm a couple of months older than you.
Not a couple.
A couple of months older than
Not a couple.
Yes, I am.
Okay, but you
this a part of my
you a little old. You have older tastes. Put it that way. You do, right?
I got more sophisticated taste.
You know what I'm saying? You got older taste.
More sophisticated taste.
Okay. All right. So we see that North Carolina's in the house and Wisconsin. Tanisha, hey,
what's
sis.
up, Tanisha?
And folks coming in from the DMV. And so we just appreciate you all checking in with us this evening so that we can have some good conversation. So you see the title, y'all. You see the title, How to Avoid the Natural Drift Toward Isolation in Your Marriage. So you may be married and already in that spot. You may be in a relationship and you're not quite married yet, but you notice that there's this little drift that can happen sometimes, where you kind of get into your own thing, that your spouse or your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, if you're in a committed relationship, y'all, they get into their own thing. And so many couples that we talk to have talked to us about the fact that, we get home and I go upstairs, and anybody know about this? It sound familiar? And he go downstairs and, I get my food. I might be like, hey, how you doing? And we just kind of do our own thing. What's up, Juanita? All right, Detroit is in the building. Hassani, hey, what's going on? And so I thought that this was important. My husband thought that this was important because there are certain things that successful couples do to make sure that they are maintaining their relationship. If you have a car and you never get a tune-up, you never do anything to maintain the car. You don't keep the car clean. You don't put gas in the car. You ain't going too far, right? And so the same is true for a relationship. There are certain things that all couples must do, even though you may have your own unique way of doing it. There are certain things that all couples must do to first recognize that there can be a natural drift that happens in a relationship. Some couples are more at risk than others, but every couple has to deal with what can happen, which is you can start to drift. Drift, right? So tonight we're going to share some things with you. And like we always tell you, we want you to come with a pen and paper. We want you to write down whatever resonates with you the most, because whatever speaks to you the most is the thing that you need to figure out. Why is that speaking to me? What is it about that? Every single thing that we drop this evening is not going to be for you, but there will be something that sits with you. And I'm just challenging you right now. The same way when we finish these things, I'll be like, dang, what really stood out to me? And I'll talk and share. My husband will do the same thing. And we take that into our own work. So whatever work you need to do this evening, focus in on it. All right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Sharon or Sharon, but welcome. She said she's a housewife and a mom. And so, that right there, that's a whole lot of reason when you a mommy. It's a whole lot of reason where we can start to drift because we focused on the kids. Right.
But before we begin, let me just lift this up and say that when it comes to being in a relationship, it's important that you recognize. My wife, she may have mentioned this, but it's a normal part of being in a relationship to sometimes just fall off. To sometimes just not be on your A game, to not be on point, to get comfortable and complacent. In your relationship. And then sometimes, when you enter into that space, you don't even know you're there. You just find yourself one day, you wake up and you got on holy drawers. You find yourself one day and you wake up and you got on socks that's halfway cut off and you got your big toe sticking out just because you're just not really tripping like you used to. You might find yourself one day where you find yourself waking up in a onesie that looks like a animal. You might just find yourself in that situation one day. Again, so you get comfortable in relationships.
Are you really trying to call me out on this, John?
I didn't say your name. So I'm just saying.
You see how he had said one day you might find yourself waking up in a onesie? He doesn't like my little,
true.
The little pajama suits where you captures your feet. You know what I mean? Everything. I love that joint. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
You do. I know you do.
I do.
I threw away one of them before, and I actually bought it for
you.
You
bought it for me.
I bought it for, and then I threw away one of her onesies before.
Sometimes you just want to be comfortable.
Yeah. So I'm lifting this up to say that it's normal to become comfortable in your relationship, and actually, that's what you want to do. You want to become comfortable. That's the objective. But at the same time, too, you don't want to become so comfortable that you fail to keep yourself up to a degree where your wife or your husband feels like they want you. You want to make sure you keep it hot, keep it fresh, keep it sexy. It ain't gonna always be like that all the time. But again, you don't want to get so comfortable that you throw that thing on the back burner and you say, beat it, because it's no longer an interest to you. No, you need to make sure that you're prioritizing that because your partner, they want to see that sometimes.
Okay, so before we get into number one, we have 5 things we want to share with you this evening that will help you avoid the natural drift towards isolation in your marriage. And so as you're listening, certain things will come up for you. There may be certain questions that pop up. We're paying attention to the questions. And so even if we're not able to address it on tonight, we will go back and look at it after this live stream is over. But we do try to, engage, right? Yeah. So go ahead and drop your comments, your thoughts, your questions, and please share this video. Okay.
One more thing before we get started.
One more thing.
I don't even know if we introduced ourselves. My name is Ayize. This is my lovely wife, Aiyana. We're licensed therapists, but I like to put this qualifier out there, y'all. We are not, this is not therapy right now. This ain't therapy. So
just in case you
misconstrued. This ain't therapy. Confused. This is us giving our opinions, which I think are some good opinions, some good advice, but it's not therapy. If you want some therapeutic services or interventions, you can hit us up, reallovehelp.com. But this right here is for entertainment purposes only.
Well, it ain't just about entertainment. Edutainment.
Edutainment.
Okay. Edutainment, education. Right. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into number one. Again, I hope you have a pen and paper and you're focused. So what is the number? Well, it's not the number one thing, but what is number one, sweetheart? I'm going to let you have at it on the list in terms of avoiding this natural drift and this natural tendency sometimes to separate in your relationship.
Yeah. So this right here, I would actually say is probably the most, well, it's not the most important thing, but it definitely is critical. When it comes to being in a relationship, it's important that you prioritize your relationship by drawing a boundary around your relationship. And so one of the things that allows marital drift to take place is the fact that you got loosey-goosey boundaries and you're not prioritizing a relationship. You think that you can step in 1 minute, step out the next minute. And again, because you're not elevating the importance, the significance of the relationship, you're not holding it in high regard. And so with these loose boundaries comes infidelity. With these loose boundaries comes the wandering eye. With these loose boundaries comes extended arms and all of that type of stuff. So again, you want to make sure that you're drawing boundaries in your relationship that protect the relationship. One thing I like to lift up is that, whenever, and somebody actually gave this piece to me before, but if you find yourself in a situation where you're experiencing distress in your relationship, you may have experienced infidelity, physical infidelity, emotional infidelity, or even financial infidelity. Your relationship is in a space of crisis at that moment. And so what do we do in this country right here when it comes to being in a state of crisis? What we do is we raise the threat level. And so when we raise the threat level, essentially what we're doing is we're carving out or drawing a thicker boundary around the relationship or around the country to make sure that people can't come in and that want to come in, or people can't get out that ain't supposed to really be getting out. So when it comes to your relationship, if the threat level has increased or raised, or if there's anything that might be jeopardizing the unity that you and your partner have, you raise that level by drawing a boundary around a relationship to make sure that you protect what you got going on inside your house. So again, to avoid the marital drift and to keep things inside the home, make sure you're establishing clear boundaries in your relationship. Now, for me to be more specific, some of y'all out here on this live stream right here got work spouses. Y'all do.
Well.
And it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's disrespectful. It's not the way you need to be flowing. And so for the people that got those work spouses, you need to cut it. Some of y'all are taking extended lunches and y'all don't need to be doing that. Some of y'all are taking 2-person car rides and putting your hand on the person's lap and don't need to be doing that. Some of y'all,
what on the person's lap?
Your hand. Some of y'all are doing certain things. Some of y'all are having long conversations on your way home and you don't need to be doing that. I mean, this is just real talk right here. So what that's showing, or what that says to me is that if anybody is willing to raise their hand and saying, I'm doing it, I dare you. Most of y'all won't do that. But what that says to me, and based off of my experiences being therapists, what I know is that people are having these loose boundaries and thinking that it's not cheating simply because they're on the phone with somebody while they're on their way home to their book.
But let me speak on this. Anybody know about this? Married but lonely. Listen to those 3 words, married but lonely. Oftentimes, and this is not an excuse, it's not an excuse, but oftentimes people find themselves in these kinds of situations drawn to appropriate / inappropriate relationships and doing things that they shouldn't be doing because they're lonely. You know, you have scenarios and situations where somebody works the day shift and somebody works the night shift, right? And you all are passing each other all the time. And that's just the life that you live. And you think like, I mean, that's just what we do. And you don't recognize that it doesn't work for you, that you really don't spend time with one another, that you really haven't had an opportunity to get into each other's headspace, to get into each other's pants, let alone the headspace. Like you just have come to a place where you get used to not really being with one another. And when that happens and that becomes a norm, and it's actually in some respects okay with you, when that happens, what tends to happen over time, over an extended period of time, is that other people start to know you better than your partner. That That's other true. People can speak to your particular preferences and the things that really get you going because they actually spend time with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, like they actually know more about you because you have not made it a priority to make sure that you are connecting in with your partner in a very intentional way and examining your life. Examining your life. Like you work the day shift and he worked the night shift. when do y'all get together? On the weekends? How is that healthy? Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's what you got to do so that you can pay some bills. But that, I'm just going to be honest, that is not an ideal setup. And most of us don't get to pick ideal, but we should pay attention to the reality of what it is we're dealing with and what it is that could be a possible threat. So we have to pay attention to the ways in which we connect in inappropriate ways with other people, because there's something missing here in the relationship. Right? Yeah. There's a lot of lonely people who marry. A lot of people who are lonely, married and married but single. I just want to answer a question. Andre said, do you all do one-on-one couples counseling? We do one-on-one couples counseling. You can go to reallovehelp.com, and you can find more information there. Drop us a note there if you have any questions. All right, so the boundaries is important. I'm going to move on to number 2. Again, if you have questions, you have thoughts, please go ahead and drop them. I saw somebody drop one earlier, and I'm going to go back and find it. Thank you, Ham and Tammy Johnson, for sharing this video in about 8 groups plus your personal page. I really, really appreciate it. We appreciate the both of you. So here's number 2, y'all.
Hold on, before we go to number 2.
You always do that. He always, hold on before.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention, because I think that this falls within the category of boundaries.
Okay.
If I didn't lift up and mention all of the stuff that's going on in popular culture right now as it pertains to...
I wanted to bring that up in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it, appropriately fits within the category of boundaries, because, a lot of dudes out here crossing the line, y'all.
Well, y'all seeing everything that's going on?
A whole lot of dudes, the latest thing that I saw was Russell Simmons. We had Matt Lauer.
What did Russell Simmons step down from his company? From his position?
Yeah, step down from his position. He was inappropriately, engaging women. Matt Lauer, inappropriately engaging women. Charlie Rose, just the list goes on and on and on. And the reality, y'all, is that this ain't the end of it. This is not the end of it. This is just the beginning, and I'm glad.
Oh.
I'm glad.
Don't get sexy on me. Go ahead. This gets real sick. Go ahead. Let me hear you talk. And we want to hear your thoughts on this.
I'm glad because, I think that men, I know that men have embraced a particular ideology that actually rewards approaching women, approaching life from a standpoint where it's unfortunately misogynistic. And so, we feel extremely entitled when it comes to our relationships with women. We feel extremely entitled when it comes to our relationships with girls. We think that we can do what we want to do, when we want to do it, and how we want to do it. And the reality is that no, that stuff ain't cool, y'all. It's really not cool. So I'm happy that this is coming to the forefront, not because I'm trying to take dudes down, but I want to lift women up.
Yeah.
I want to lift women up to a degree where they actually feel honored.
Yes.
And they feel loved and supported by us men. Because we men, we have a responsibility. I say the most revolutionary thing that you can do is love your Black woman. And if you ain't doing that, if you're degrading, if you're belittling her, then you ain't doing your job. You're not on your ding.
Ooh.
So step it up, handle your business. And for all of these dudes, I know it's a lot of cats that's shaking in their boots right now. I was actually listening to the radio earlier today.
You keep saying that. You're like, I know it scared right now.
It's a lot of people scared. It's a lot of people scared. You shouldn't have been doing what you was doing. And what's interesting, it's several different dynamics that play out with this. But what's interesting is that, men are quietly giving other men a pass. Women are quietly giving men a pass.
That's true, y'all.
And the reality is that, so we have all of these silent bystanders to some degree who are acting complicitly with these behaviors that are really inappropriate. Earlier today, I was listening to a very popular radio show, and on this radio show, it was lifted up how what Matt Lauer did, how he was fired and all of that type of stuff. I'm not trying to say no. How he was fired from his position.
Just say.
And so, in him being fired, one of the commentators on the radio show, they were speaking about the fact that President Trump, 45, he essentially sent out a tweet and he was criticizing the executives at NBC. And so the person on this radio show, and I was really sitting back to see how he was going to respond to this. And I'm not sure if he said something prior to this point right here, but his commentary, the dude's commentary was around what 45 said, but there really was no commentary around what Matt Lauer did. And so it almost felt like he was attempting to deflect. And I could be basically making a false assumption here, but attempting to deflect the real issue of what Matt Lauer did and focus on the craziness that 45 is talking about as it pertains to firing in what is it, NBC executives. So I was just sitting back and peeping at it and just thinking to myself, like, a lot of dudes would miss that point right there and really wouldn't call out other guys and express the fact that it's not right for men to be treating women that way. Grab them by the pussy. I mean, come on now. You don't just do that, but that is, it's locker room talk is what guys do, but it's inappropriate, y'all. So we got to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
So you're saying it is locker room talk?
Yeah, I mean, dudes say all types of stuff in the locker room. Yeah, but even if you say it, don't mean that you need to do it, and even if
it's right,
it doesn't mean it's right. Yeah. It really doesn't mean it's right. So I just wanted to lift up that piece right there, y'all.
Go ahead, boo, do it, represent. Okay, so and you have a question here, so you want to take that question, but here's number 2, guys. Loving confrontation. 2 words, write it down. Loving confrontation. How do you avoid the natural drift toward isolation in your marriage? When there's something that you're not getting, right? If there's something that is not happening for you, you start to feel it. When we're not getting enough time, we start to get in our feelings a little bit. I can at least speak from a woman's perspective. We start to feel some type of way, right? There's something going on and we're feeling a little funny about it. When we notice that there's a little bit of a disconnect, you know what? Like, I don't feel like, we've been spending enough time. We haven't been going out on dates. We don't even talk when we come home. We know that something is there. And so loving confrontation means that you don't just keep going along. You don't just keep coming in and out of the house every single day and then going and having lunch with your girls, having conversations with them and talking about what you're dissatisfied about, and then not bringing it to your partner. You have to be willing to put things out on the table. You have to be willing to say the uncomfortable things and to lift up the pieces and the places and the parts of your relationship that need help. I'm having a problem with this right here. I'm having a concern with this. I don't understand where you are. I said this the other day. You didn't respond to me. I texted you. Where were you? I don't feel you right now. I don't know what's going on with you right now. You have to be willing to say it. And you would be surprised at how many people have learned how to push those inclinations down, to just kind of move beyond them, because you know what? We're okay right now. I don't want to cause any issue. You may not articulate that and you may not say that concretely, but that's really what it is. I don't want no stuff. And some of us, how many of y'all know? Go ahead and drop a comment and let me know. How many of you know that you don't even like confrontation? First of all. Second of all, and third of all, I ain't really trying to do that. I'll do it if I have to, but I really don't want to do it. I don't want to get into all of that. You know what I mean? Like, how long is this going to take? I got to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to do that. And even if I don't got to go to work, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to lead. But we've got to take a risk. If there is not, listen to me closely, come closer. If there is not loving confrontation, meaning you're saying something that is uncomfortable for you and it is uncomfortable for your partner, and it makes the both of you uncomfortable and feel funky. If you're not doing that, at least once a quarter, once every 3 months, that's a problem. People come to us and they say, we really don't, we're just having some issues now, but we really don't argue. We don't really have no conflict. We just get along. And people somehow think that that's like, they think, we've heard people say that, right? And I just sit there and I listen. They think that that's a positive thing. I want to make it really plain. That's not real. That is not real. It doesn't mean that you need to have knockdown dragouts. There's a way to communicate. There's a way to do things effectively. And that's what we focus on and help people with. And that's what we challenge each other to do, because I could be special and a hot mess.
Absolutely.
And he can be an even hotter mess.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we know that there's a way to do things, but to say that there's no conflict, we just get along, we don't really have issues, that's a problem. I don't understand how two people come together to be in relationship with one another and don't have no issues. That means that somebody's suppressing something, somebody's not telling the truth. And at the end of the day, when loving confrontation is not happening, then we know that growth is not happening. Y'all are faking it. Y'all ain't being real. Y'all are holding stuff back. And at some point in time, the relationship is going to start to unravel because you were not willing to tell the truth and ask for what you need.
Yeah.
Oh my.
You know what?
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to feel that one. Did y'all feel? You were not willing to tell the truth and ask for what you need. That's a whole sermon. That's a whole class. That's a whole initiation. That's a rites of passage. You understand? That's a grown-ass woman and a grown-ass man. Tell the truth. Say what it is you're feeling and ask for what you need. Drop it and let it go. You can do it in a loving way. You can do it in a way that is respectful, but you must do it. Because if you're not doing it, it's not a real relationship. And who wants to be in a fake relationship where you got to walk on eggshells? Who wants to be in a relationship where you don't feel like you can totally be honest, where you can actually have more emotional intimacy with your girls or with some dudes, your boys who you rap to, than you do with your partner? Who wants to do that? I don't want that. I want to be able to go all the way there with my husband, with my knees shaking, with my boots knocking. That don't sound right. I want to be able to do it. And so what do you need to take that kind of risk? What do you need to do? You just got to do it. You can't wait to be convicted by it. Some of y'all are being convicted in this moment, like, oh, dang, she's telling the truth. I really ain't brought that thing up, or it was a long time ago, or I ain't say nothing about it, or whatever, right? People are feeling some of that. And what I'm telling you right now is don't wait to be convicted. Don't wait to feel inspired. It will not come to you. It will not happen. You just have to be willing to step in to loving confrontation. And if it's not happened for you in the last 90 days, I think it's about time for you to keep it real. That is how you avoid the natural drift towards isolation. Because when you're being real and when you are actually talking and telling the truth, there's no way for us to be distant. You know how I feel. You know what's going on for me, and I know what's going on for you. We're challenging each other. We're connecting in with each other. Even if it's a rough connection, it's still a connection. Do you understand that? Even if it's a rough connection, it's still a connection. And when I can plug into you and you can plug into me, even if we got to work at it a little bit, that is helping us to stay closer together and not to drift away. That's true. That's important. That's very important.
You know, I chuckled as you were talking.
Yeah, I saw you were laughing at me.
I was because it's really a difference between a Leo and a Pisces. I'm a Pisces, y'all, and my wife, she's a Leo.
You about to bring up our signs?
Yeah. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because as you were talking, it was a number of times where I was thinking to myself, like, she about to elbow me in the chest and knock the mic off my shirt. Boom. I was really thinking that. And then you actually put your hand up like that. I was like, you about to smack me in the face. Like, you control all of this. All of this, right? You all up over here and all of that.
Was I doing
that? Yeah. As a Pisces, I'm right here handling my business. But you all like this. I'm like, come on, dude.
I'm sorry.
You about to smack me in the face.
I wasn't about to smack
elbow me in the chest. That's a Leo, y'all. That's a straight up Leo right there.
Just expressive.
But the point, be careful, man. Wash them hands. They fully on all over the place.
Boo, I got you.
All right.
Boo, what? For real, boo? Why you doing all that? You really like concerned?
Yeah, I'm thinking you about to smack me.
Why have I ever smacked you sitting here?
Yeah, but she be like right here.
No, I do not.
Your hand be like right there.
Right up. Has my hand ever been this close to him, y'all? Tell this man to get it together. Somebody said Team Pisces. Yeah. Representing for you. All right. So what's the next one? All right.
No. I'm not ready for the next one.
I know, because you always want to like parlay in between points.
No, because
that's a Pisces for you.
You lifted
parlay.
You lifted up some really good pieces there. And what it made me think of is...
I'm watching the drink, y'all. I'm watching the drink. It's empty, but I'm about to fill it back up.
Hey, y'all, she dropped a glass earlier.
But
she broke a glass earlier.
It was an accident. Why you trying to make it seem like...
I'm trying to put you on front.
Yeah, I see.
Hey, but so now I wanted to lift up the fact that, when it comes to what you say, love and confrontation.
You don't even know what you're about to say.
No, I do know what I'm about to say. When it comes to love and confrontation, my wife, she mentioned that couples be faking and stuff like that. And we've actually witnessed and noticed this, in our practice. There's normally a certain way in which couples begin to engage.
Yeah.
And so what normally happens is like it's a subtle dance that takes place. It's a predictable dance. But everybody, when they come in to see us, everything is all good. There's really no issues.
Well,
things are, they may have expressed the issues prior to, but sitting in front of us or virtually via Skype or whatever we use, the platform that we use, everything is good for like the first 30, 40 minutes. And then eventually, it end up breaking open and the couple engages in that. We have to ease them into the loving confrontation process. So I'm saying that to say that there is a process to actually getting to the experience where you share with your partner what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you need. But you have to put yourself in position in order to experience that moment. You know, sometimes people just shy away from the opportunity to experience the moment where intimacy can actually occur. You have to make yourself available to allow the intimacy to take place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Available to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Available to be uncomfortable. All right, boo. Number 3.
Number 3.
3 out of 5.
And this is a really important one, y'all.
This is how you avoid the natural drift towards isolation in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just joining us, that's what we're talking about.
And please share, please share. So, you know, it's important that you don't find yourself in a position or in a space in your relationship where you're experiencing failure to thrive. You yourself are experiencing failure to thrive.
What is that?
So essentially you find yourself in a space where you're just depressed, you're overwhelmed, you're stuck, you're stagnant, you just don't know which direction to go in. And so because you don't know which direction to go in, what you end up doing is weighing the relationship down, and there's no excitement, there's no interest, there's no desire that you have, and therefore there's no desire, no excitement, no needs or no wants that your partner has. So you kind of distance yourself from the relationship because you need to work on you. So what I would say is that to avoid the natural drift, you need to find areas in which you can develop self. Develop your sense of self. So if there's some areas of interest that you have, you want to make sure that you shift your attention towards those areas of interest so that you can continue to grow. If you're stuck, if you're stagnant, if you're not making movement in your own personal life, then you may possibly feel that you can't contribute to the relationship. But when you find yourself in an experience where you're developing a new you, then what you can bring is that newness to the relationship, and that makes you actually more attractive to your partner. So don't get stuck, y'all. Make sure you're always investing in self so you can bring a new you to yourself, but also to the relationship as well.
All right. So let me say this. I'm looking at some of our notes here that we developed, and something is really standing out to me, and I'm just going intersect on up into this conversation. Do you mind?
Oh.
It's not on the official notes.
Okay.
Does that meet your approval? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you all the way sure? All right. This is how you avoid the natural drift towards isolation in your marriage. This one right here, we were not planning on sharing this evening, but I actually just looked at this, and I think this is important. I want you to return a blessing for an insult. Return a blessing for an insult. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that if you are in a real marriage or a real relationship, you will be oftentimes offended. There will be things that will happen that will come across your plate, and you like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's some of your stuff. You know, you will oftentimes find yourself in a place where you're agitated. And when I say oftentimes, I'm being serious, because if you followed us for a while, you know that we say we attract our divine complement, and our divine complement often reflects to us things that really, really agitate us, but those same things are the things that we need to grow in ourselves, right? Those are the things that we need to bring up in ourselves. My husband, I've said this before and I'm gonna say it again, very compassionate person, very empathic person, very intuitive person, sometimes to a fault. Well, oh, yes, you are. Is that not right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that irritates me, because sometimes I'm like, no, bring it back in. That's not your responsibility. That's not what you're supposed to be thinking about. Can we set a boundary here? Blah, 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 right? I'm like, nah, it's irritating to me. It's agitating to me. Or he's even doing it with me. And I'm like, I don't need all of that. But what he also teaches me in those moments is how to expand my ability to go to that compassionate place. To expand my ability to see people from a place that I'm not always wanting to see people from, and I'm not always seeing myself from, because I can be hard on folks sometimes, y'all. I'm just gonna be real. And I can be even harder on myself, even harder on myself. And so what does this have to do with my original point here? Sometimes we need to return a blessing for an insult. Give people grace. That's how you avoid drifting away. Because if you're going to be a scorekeeper, then I want you to go become the coach of your child's little league team. If you're going to be a scorekeeper, if you're going to always bring up every single thing that someone has done, If you are going to give energy that lets them know, you said you was going to do this and you didn't, and blah, 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 and you're going to keep bringing stuff back, and maybe it's not even old stuff. Maybe it's stuff that's happening now, in the here and now, and you're going to let them know this is a problem. If you're going to do that all the time, then, why do they need a friend?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they need a friend when you're really the worst kind of friend there is? You're really like an enemy. And so you got to be willing to give grace. You got to be willing to return a blessing for an insult. So sometimes when we get offended in these times and spaces, when we find ourselves being agitated, what we need to do, instead of defending ourselves, instead of taking our position, getting in position to let them know, no, I'm not the one, or you got that wrong. What we need to do is just bless them. Just throw them totally off. Just bless them. And what does that mean? That means that whatever it is that you are inclined to do the opposite. You inclined to go ahead and let them know, I'm going to tell you all this stuff about how you're wrong and how it's not working. Do the opposite. Just say, I'll think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk to them about how much they've disappointed you. Instead, say, I know that was rough. And I know that, you're trying. And I got your back. Just bless them. Because see, when we give grace and when we get into the practice of giving grace, when we make it a discipline, then we can always say, when we find ourselves in really tight, trying times, I know that I give to my partner what I expect from them. Mm-hmm. I expect to be given some latitude. I expect to be treated differently than he treats everybody else. To be given some love and some comfort and some compassion and some empathy. But do you give it? Do you give it? So returning grace and a blessing for the insult that you get, that's next level. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's been some times when I felt an insult come from you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Are you saying that like with a true really, or that's just like a really, like a prompt, like, you just flowing with me right now? Was that a true really? Yeah, really. You know what I'm saying? I've been in my feelings, and all I could do is be quiet, and then I bless them. I give them something positive. It may not be that same day, it may be the next day. But what I do is I say, you know what? I'm going to get out of my identification with my own feelings, my own agenda, and I'm going to give this man some positive energy. And that right there can
that's some next level stuff.
Totally bring us together in ways that you don't even recognize or understand, even at the moment. It's next level. It's that's hard. I'm just saying it's hard, but it's absolutely doable. And you should be trying to find opportunities to do it, because it not just grows your relationship, it grows you.
I mean, because fundamentally what you're asking people to do. Fundamentally, what you're asking people to do, it's the wine, y'all. What you're asking people to do is really get beyond their ego, to detach from their emotions, and give that grace. And it's not an easy thing, because there's been a number of times where I've got caught up in my feelings based off of something you said, something you did, something you don't do, just sometimes just the way you be. And, I find myself in a stank space, and, it's hard to detach from that. And so, to give grace is really important. When you detach from the emotions that you're experiencing and recognize that the person and what they're doing may not necessarily have anything to do with you, and even if it does, it's important that you extend yourself and you allow the person for that moment to wild out if they need to have their moment of decompensation, because what they're doing is really expressing how they're feeling. And so if you don't allow them to do that, then they don't learn to be authentic in a relationship. And so if you always want them to pat you on the back, if you always want them to be engaged in some fakery in a relationship, you're not really engaged in a true and real authentic relationship. So if they end up being in a space where they have to express some frustration, some anger, then your response, as my wife just mentioned a moment ago, is to give the grace, because they're allowed that. They chose you, you chose them. The least you can do is give them some grace and give them permission to express how they feel.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's number 3, y'all. We're going on to number 4. Number 4. So who's going to do number 4?
So I'll do number 4. I'll do part 1 and number 4.
You doing that?
Yeah. So when it comes to
do
number
the whole
4,
thing.
No, when it comes to number 4, this one right here is something that I think that I do a great job at.
Oh, do you?
I do. And I think that the reason why I do a great job at it is because...
Let me read number 4. Go ahead, keep talking.
I make it a point to study my wife, y'all. I like to study my wife's interests, my wife's desires or curiosities. I'm paying attention to really the subtleties of how she's flowing. So if something is going awry, then I'm asking questions. If she's expressing curiosity about something or throwing out something that she may be, interested in, I'm asking questions. I'm probing, I'm inquiring, I'm asking questions, not just because I want the surface level understanding of what's going on with her, but I want to get in here. I want to get into her heart and understand who she is, why she's thinking the way she's thinking, what she's feeling, because she means just that much to me. And so, when you become curious, this is number 4, become curious about your partner's interest.
Mm-hmm.
Become curious about your partner's interest. Again, you all are 2 individual people, but if you're living an isolated existence in your relationship, then again, that right there is going to foster that wedge, that break in the relationship. But if you find yourself in a space where you're actually engaged with your partner, you're looking to them, you're looking to get a deeper understanding of who they are, what they want, what they need, what some of their faults may be, some of their inadequacies may be, some of their strengths are, then what that's allowing you to do is to see the person in their completeness. And their completeness is always unfolding. So you got to be patient even with that process. But again, ask questions and develop a curiosity in your partner's interest.
Mm-hmm. So you just warmed my heart. Y'all, my husband is the bomb diggity. I know that's an old ass word. I feel old now. He's the bomb diggity.
You're talking about my generation.
My husband is all that in a bag of chips. That's another old ass term. My husband is on fleek. My kids probably be like, Mom, just bring it down. I'm not too old.
You too old for that one.
No, you too old. So look, y'all. So really, this thing is serious though about becoming curious about your partner's interests. So I just want to, keep it real. You may not be naturally curious. You might be like, I already know what he like to do, and I ain't really that interested in it. Period. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to. And that's it. That's it right there. So
I don't care.
What? So what? It don't matter. It don't matter. When you go to work, I just got to keep it real. I always take it to the workplace because we do all kind of things in the workplace because we getting what? A paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
We go and do things like, damn, they done put another daggone task on my plate. Why? But then we sit there, we type it up, get it done, be like, yep, I got it for you, no worry, no problem, got it. Meanwhile, you pissed off, right? Mm-hmm. But you get it done because there is a return that you expect every 2 weeks for most people. Mm-hmm. Right? And so what is the return that you are looking for in your relationship? Sometimes we have to just think about it in that simple kind of way. There's a return that you're going to get individually. There's a return that you both are going to get when you show that you are not just focused on your own selfish ass desires and that you want to know more about this person just because they are who they are to you. And really, some of us are just naturally a little more selfish and some of us are not, right? So we have to challenge ourselves and just be real about that. You just be real. I mean, I know I can be a little selfish, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit.
How can you be selfish and one of your favorite songs is that Joe song?
What Joe song? Which one?
What's the song that Joe
I want to know. Oh, don't make me try to turn that joint on. I love that song. But you know what? I love that song. Wow. I want to know because it's talking about wanting to know your partner, wanting to know more about them. And that's how you have been with me. That's how you've treated me. That's how you've modeled for me. And that's me and you. And so I will say, my husband has grown me in so many ways. He's modeled for me. You've modeled for me in so many ways. And just so you're clear, my lack of selfishness in terms of me growing and that kind of thing with you, that's a you benefit. I was a petty ass mofo. I'm petty with other people. Now I may not say it and I might be, realize it and then check it because you be telling me that. You be like, boo, for real? Don't you tell me that? How many of y'all know that that's kind of how you do? And it's okay. No judgment. I'm not judging myself. I just know that that's kind of how I can do sometimes, right? And then I check myself. Or I come to my best friend and he checks me and is like, boo, that's petty. And I'm like, for real? Damn. All right, let me get myself together. So develop some shared interests as well. You want to check for your partner, see what they got going on, and develop some shared interests. I am oftentimes, I should not be at this point, but I'm oftentimes surprised by how many people do not have at least one shared interest that they engage in with their partner. Not just one. I said, well, what do you all do this just for you? What are you into? I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're scrapbooking, watching football, going, I don't know.
Going hiking.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? there are some couples who have them. Those couples tend to do better because not only do they have a shared interest, something that they can just have for themselves, but they are also creating a space for them to be able to have other kinds of conversations and do other kinds of connecting through those activities. Right? Because oftentimes our lives are filled with so many things. It's like, where can I get it in? Where can I find a space? Well, if you have this shared interest, this activity, this ritual, this thing that you do as a couple, right? And you start this thing, now you have a place to go. I can't wait till we, go and do whatever, fill in the blank. I can't wait till we have that, because we do it routinely. It should be something you do routinely. And I don't care if it's every week, every quarter, twice a year, 3 times a year, whatever. What is it that y'all have? What is it that you all have this just for you?
So drop us a comment here, y'all. Let us know.
Somebody said guilty.
Hold on, let us know, like, what are some of your shared interests?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you all could actually bless somebody that's on this live stream right here by sharing with some of your shared interests.
And I want to know, because I want to know some other things to do.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things we'll list some of the things that we do. One thing that y'all probably know we always do is we get the crabs. We get the crabs, we sit around the card table, we eat the crabs, watch TV. That's one thing we do. Another thing we do.
DMV, crabs is a big thing here.
Yeah, another thing that we do religiously is like every Sunday we having bath time. So the missus and I will light the candles, get the wine. We'll maybe even watch something on Netflix and sit in the bathtub, the bubble bath, and nice little scents and all of that type of stuff.
Bath time is a beautiful time.
With the olive oil, the bath bombs, the beads, and we get it in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just that relaxing time to sit back and chill. It's actually something that I look forward to.
And something else that we do, we both have a shared interest when it comes to our people, right? So personally, I think all Black folks should have some level of connection to and sense of responsibility for our people in some way, right? But one of the things that we are very clear about in our business and in our purpose and our call is that we're not here just talking to people about self-development and growth, but we also want to impact our people in a very specific way because we have very particular issues when it comes to our own personal development and particular kinds of barriers that other folks ain't got. And so, we talk about that stuff. We study our people, we study our history, we look and pay attention to what works for us and what has not worked for us, and how some of the things that we think about and that we talk about in terms of the psychology of how Black folks work, not Black folks, the psychology of how people work and don't work. What does that mean for Black people? So that's something that we can, we get all stimulated, talking about that.
I'm saying roll bounce, like roller skating. Traveling, entertainment.
Traveling, y'all, can
people
be so good.
Walking Dead. I saw on here. One thing that I would really love to do with you that I saw on here, but I know you're not going to do it.
What?
You're not going to do it because you don't know how to do it. But somebody said that this person and their spouse, they play 2K18 on the Xbox or PlayStation or whatever it is. So you...
So
now, I don't even play the video games anymore. But just the thought of me playing the video game with my wife, it actually I'm like, we should try that. Even though I spank you, but we should try that.
So like when my husband says something and I'm not feeling it, I fall asleep. I like fake fall asleep, like, that's making me bored. No, but I tried. I probably get good on it. I used to be good on Nintendo back in the day.
Let's go ahead and kill it.
Nintendo back in the day.
Let's go ahead and kill it.
Y'all remember Nintendo?
Yeah, but
remember Nintendo?
Yeah, you Pac-Man.
I was good. Not just that. No, more than just Pac-Man.
All right, but let's not talk about the video game.
Put some respect on my name.
Let's not talk about it.
Put some respect on it.
Donkey Kong?
I didn't know. Nintendo. Donkey Kong wasn't Nintendo, wasn't that? That was Atari or Sega or whatever. I don't know. We all know.
But, all right, y'all. But nah, so I'm liking some of the ideas that are thrown out here. Why are you trying, what are you doing?
Oh, somebody said my wife and I used to wrestle. That sounds really nice. Wow. Anybody want to try some wrestling? I'd like to do that.
Oh, yeah. Tonight?
No, boo. Not tonight.
Why not? Let's get it in. In the bathtub with the bubble.
No, thank you. No, but wrestling, I mean, that's that sounds really interesting. I like that too.
Wrestling goes along with
what do you use anything when you're wrestling? Is anything slippery on you? I'm just curious. That's a nice kind of wrestling.
That olive oil is a beast, y'all.
Olive oil. We need to do a whole live stream. Y'all want to hear us do a live stream on olive oil? Well, somebody said that's crazy. Stephanie said that's crazy. Stephanie, come on, girl, free your mind. Free your mind.
I like the rest.
And the rest will follow. Yes. Lots will follow.
Oh yeah. One other thing though that we do, and we actually, you can include your family in this stuff.
Working out. Somebody said exercising, working out.
Yeah. So what we've recently done, and I'm gonna go ahead and shout out Team Mel Ma'ats. We've recently done Mel Ma'ats. what we recently done is started playing Taboo in our house, y'all. So we got a 7-member household.
Now?
Yeah, we got a seven-member household. So we got.
Shut up.
It's myself, my oldest son,
look,
the middle son, and then the baby son,
he came down.
who was like 2. I want to see, almost 2 years.
The hell, you know how old your son is?
Almost 2 years.
Look, here's the son. He literally just came downstairs. He heard his daddy. Come behind your daddy so he can see. So this is our oldest son, y'all. Y'all say hi. This is Asante.
We actually started playing Taboo, and so we've been in this little tournament series, right, y'all? And so the guys,
let's get way too excited about this. It's not that serious.
We whooped up on the girls and the woman, and we winning. We winning. We as the guys were winning. So I got Asante, I got Ayize, and myself against my wife, my oldest daughter, and then my youngest daughter. So yeah, so we handling our business. All right, you can beat it now.
Love you, boo. All right, so let's move on. Can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, so
y'all Taboo, get it? Y'all. Taboo. Team Taboo.
You get it? So look, somebody said, I joked with Hubs about playing Twister. Hey, go on ahead and take that thing all away.
We need to do that.
You know what I'm saying? Play Twister. These things are important. These things are important. I'm glad you all are dropping those comments, because it really is helpful for people. You know, we're all laughing and having a good time, but it really is helpful for people, and it's helpful for us, so that we can kind of see what people are doing who are really serious about taking their relationships to the next level and maintaining their relationships. All right, so I think that was number 4. We are on number 5, the fifth and final.
Before we get to the 5th and final,
I
gotta say this. So in terms of rituals, y'all, you know, I think that it's important that you include some spiritual practice, you know, in your relationship. You know, I'm not sure what you believe, but that's an excellent way, whether it be through prayer, whether it be through meditation, whether it be through yoga, Tai Chi, whatever it is that you do. You know, doing something from a spiritual nature together can definitely enhance the relationship and prevent, or at least protect and shield the relationship from marital drift.
Well. You don't bring that, Black man. I salute you for bringing that up. But I just want to be 100, because I need sisters. Don't leave me hanging right here, because all the sisters out there, like, yes, that would be great, but he don't go to church. He don't want to pray. He don't want to lead the process. He don't want to do no yoga. He don't, you know, he don't want to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, go out in nature and see the beauty of the creation. You know, that God is. But he ain't trying to do all of that. I just want to ask you, Black man, what saith you? I mean, what do we do? Because I think that it is important. And even you and I, we've had to learn how to negotiate on our spiritual path and on our spiritual journey, you know, negotiate on the things that resonate with him and the things that resonate with me, you know, and it's been a process. It's been an ongoing process, but we've come down to an agreement. So what do you say to the women out there? Because most of our audience is women. There are men on here as well. You know, what do you say to them who said, like, there's a disconnect? And maybe it's not just the women. Maybe there are men who are like, I'm trying to pull her into my vibe and my energy, and that don't really happen. And it's very important. It's very important.
So I think that, and it's not just for men, but everybody wants to be included. Nobody wants to be isolated. I'm not gonna say nobody, but for the most part, people want to be included. People want to be included in their partner's experience. And so when it comes to doing anything around ritual, this is real,
people
right?
Like, if they're going, I'll go to the church example. People like, I see you when you get back.
But it's not that though. So I mean, that's on the surface level.
That's true.
So even if we look at my resistance when it comes to doing certain things as it pertains to that, my resistance is not necessarily based off of the institution. It could be based off of the institution and certain beliefs about that. But what's more important, you know, just religion. You know, I'm just going to generalize and say religion. And so if I'm coming from an approach where I'm embracing a more spiritual perspective, and I recognize the value and the importance of that, if I can connect in with you and see how that's incorporated or part of your experience, then I'm able and I'm more willing to participate in that, because it's not just about the institution itself, it's more so about the spiritual journey. And so when I say that everybody wants to be included, or at least you should want to be included, if you want to be connected and close with your partner, it's important that you, again, tune in, tap in, and just really get attuned to what your partner's desires are. And so it may not look the way that you want it to look, but even above and beyond and look in a particular way, the most important thing is that you connect in. So you find a way Or you at least ask your partner, how can they help you in this experience and in this process to meet the need that you have within you if you're trying to walk on a spiritual journey, but you're not necessarily trying to be confined by the religious dogma or concepts that you may have been exposed to. So the important thing that I want to lift up here, y'all, is that when it comes to engaging men or somebody who may be resistant, lift up why it's important for you that they participate and engage you, that they do this with you. And so if I feel like my arm is being twisted, if I feel like I'm being forced, then I'm more resistant.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel like you want me because you want to be with me, you want to be connected in with me, then I'm more apt to engage. And so it's no longer about that, which I may be resistant to. It's more so about us, which I'm trying to develop and I'm trying to build on.
Mm-hmm. And you are more likely to feel heard and validated as a man, or whomever the person is, but we're talking about being a man and kind of being resistant to the process if you feel respected.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to respect that, as we always say, there is more than one way. There is more than one way. And so many of us get very rigid when it comes to spirituality and to religion. And that thing right there will mess your relationship up every time, because there will be a disconnect that you all will have because you are not willing to make way for the different pathways to God and the different ways that people experience the Creator and experience inspiration and purpose and love and all of the gifts that God gives us. If you only think it comes a certain way, or that you have to do certain things in order to hit it, right? And to be able to connect in with spirit, then you're going to miss your partner. You're going to miss your partner. And so you've got to be willing to open up your mind, even if it goes against what you have been taught or what you are used to, and do something different. Do something different. All right. So can I go on to the last one now? I love it. Somebody on that last point, in terms of things that you can do together, they said, oh, and watch y'all's videos. Thank you. Yes. Watch our videos.
Over 800 videos on
YouTube. It's
YouTube.
over 800 now? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All right. Well. All right, y'all. The last one. This is a good one. And I think sometimes we hear this and we're like, oh, yeah. You know, we kind of like, we've heard it. If you are someone who is you're a person who is attracted to things that will grow you, that will lift you up, that will enlighten you, then this is not anything that will be revolutionary or new to you. But sometimes we get in the practice of doing things on a surface level, and we do not really take time to focus in on what it means for us. And so this one is important. It's 2 words: develop self. Or you know what? How about we just do my mix on that, or go back to Kemet with it and say, know thyself. Develop yourself. Know yourself. Yeah, you've heard it. Most of y'all on here, because anybody who's attracted to us is trying to do something. So you ain't new to that, right? But what are you developing right now?
They heard it because I talked about it before.
What the hell? What?
But you can go ahead and put your spin on it.
Hold on, I thought so. Wait a minute. So why you didn't? Don't even let him do me like this, y'all. Why you didn't tell me that we already did that one?
You go ahead and put your spin on it.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead and knock it out.
Hold on.
I like the whole know thyself. You took it back to Kemet. Let's go ahead and knock it out. Know thyself.
So we
all need a reminder.
Okay. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Oh, we did all 5.
Well, no, go ahead.
I am. Yeah. Trust. Let me put my hair wrap to the back. Watch me flow. So look.
You kind of like on my mic.
Watch me flow. Who say that? What's your man's name?
I don't even know.
You do know. You just not trying to say.
He say watch me work, but he don't say watch me.
Watch me work. Whatever. Yeah. What's his name?
I don't know.
You do know. Why you ain't trying to?
I don't know.
You press. No. Okay. So anyway, don't mind that, y'all.
Develop yourself.
Develop yourself. Know thyself. What does that mean? So I'm just going to reinforce this again, being as though we already did this, right? So here it is. At the end of the day, we have said a lot of stuff to you all this evening. And I myself, I'm often drawn to things where it's about personal things.
I'm sorry.
Personal development. I'm attracted to personal development stuff. I'm trying to grow myself. I'm trying to enlighten myself. I'm trying to, expand my mind, my consciousness, or what have you. Sometimes you can get overloaded on that stuff. And sometimes you realize you got a bunch of notes, you got a bunch of audios, you got a bunch of videos, you know what I'm saying? And what the hell are you doing with it? And sometimes you just got to ask yourself that, what specifically? And that's what I'm challenging everyone here this evening to do. What specifically are you working on in yourself that will impact your marriage or your relationship or maybe your future partner positively? What are you doing? Don't just be subscribing to some of the things that you hear here from us and from the other people who are dropping comments. Y'all are connecting and vibing. What are you doing? Because we all like to give our opinion. We all like to be an expert. We all like to talk about, yeah, because this is what is needed and this is what's needed and blah, 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 blah. I like it. I'm going to be real. I do. I enjoy talking about this stuff. You understand? But at the end of the day, I have to look at myself and say, what is it specifically that I'm working on? I am working on my patience. I am working on my ability to make room for my husband and not overwhelm the space and be patient with his process. I can tell you, that's just number one. I can give you a list of things that I'm working on when it comes to myself and as it relates to my marriage and my relationship. Do you understand? So develop yourself. Be serious about that thing. Because when you find yourself frustrated in your relationship, when you find yourself, oh, I see you, I'm about to come to that. When you find yourself, listen, y'all, frustrated in your relationship, and you really are frustrated, okay? And you really are feeling distant. You're feeling like, oh, because what we're talking about here tonight is this drift, kind of drifting away, right? And you feel yourself getting more and more disconnected. There are so many options that you have. You can get desperate and you can start clinging on for dear life. Where is he going? What's she doing? Where you at? And you start to become smothering and overwhelming to the other person. You can become mad and you can become angry. Where are they? They're abandoning me. They're not there for me. They're just like this other dude and this other person and my mother and my father. And then you start to shut down. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm on my own. I always got to, cover myself, right? You could do that. Or what you can do is you can get still and you can focus on what is it that I'm looking for? That's the question. What is it that I need? What is it that I'm not getting? Before you lift up to your partner, because one of the things we talked about tonight is loving confrontation, right? Before you confront your partner on what it is you need, confront yourself on how you can give it to yourself first. Oh my, that thing is good right there, because I want your attention. I want you to see. Feel like, I'm saying, we disconnected. I want your attention. But before I can really receive it from this man, what is it that I need to do to give it to myself? How can I validate myself? How can I affirm myself? How can I lay my own hands on myself and be like, girl, you all right? You good? Because he can never fill me up in the way that the creator can fill me up. And the creator is always operating through me as me. So I can do that for myself. So develop yourself, people. Develop yourself and have a specific thing that you are working on at all times. And if you do not, then that's a problem. And sometimes I just got to call myself out. Oh, shoot, I'm talking a whole bunch of stuff. What am I doing though? You know what I'm saying? We all get in that place. What am I doing? So the last thing I want to say this evening is this. To all the sisters who are here and you vibing with me this evening, I see some of your comments and some folks are saying, yeah, that hit a nerve. And I saw a sister shout out The Art of Overcoming with Aiyana. Please join me and all the other sisters in that group. It's here on Facebook, The Art of Overcoming with Aiyana. I will put that, I think I put a link for that, in my page, but where I'm also doing this live stream, but I will go ahead and drop it in the blackloveandmarriage.com Facebook page so that you can join us. And that's for women who are competent, who are confident, and we got issues. We all of that, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gotta be one or the other. We own it, we're trying to grow, and we're trying to do the best that we can. And sometimes we be slacking, and it's all good. So, this has been good.
It really has.
It has.
And before we leave, I just want to say that we're working on something for the first part of 2018. So stay tuned, y'all. If you have not signed up for our email list and gotten our 7-part video series, 7 Keys to a Rock Solid Relationship, please go ahead and do so, because, when we do drop this piece that we're going to be doing in the start of 2018, it's only going to be for a limited number of people. So, and really, essentially, what it's going to be talking about is really journeying into self.
So it's an online experience that we're going to be putting together. We're also going to have a spring retreat that's going to be happening. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be happening in 2018 for couples. And there's also going to be a spring retreat, very likely. I'm still marinating and meditating on this one for the Sisters of the Art of Overcoming. Oh, I'm so excited. So keep all these things in mind. We love y'all because y'all be keeping it 100. This is good stuff.
Somebody said get the Facebook page again.
The Facebook page is The Art of Overcoming. If you just kind of, look.
So that's on YouTube. So we'll put the
The Art of Overcoming
we'll type that in YouTube. Yeah.
We'll put a link in YouTube, okay? We'll put a link in YouTube. We'll put a link on the blackloveandmarriage.com page. 2018 is gonna be off the hook because I want to see some of y'all in real life. I want to see you in person. You understand? I want to see y'all in person. So keep your ears open and stay tuned so we can come together and connect. Have some spirits and grow all at the same time. All right, y'all. This has been real. This has been good. Remember that none of this stuff makes any difference in your life if you don't
stop playing
and start pushing.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, YouTube, y'all always get us for a couple of more seconds.
No, we be sitting
because we're trying to figure this thing out.
Because my husband is slow.
Why don't we just give a little bit of love to YouTube?
We love y'all because YouTube.
Hey, YouTube. I mean, we've been rocking with y'all from the beginning. Any questions that y'all have?
No, can I just say this? No, I just want to ask this. This don't have nothing to do. Okay, it's 11 of y'all watching right now at this moment. On YouTube. We get hundreds of people on Facebook. And so we started opening up. We get hundreds of people. And when we started because some of y'all might be professional YouTubers, right? Or y'all have your own videos and stuff like that. We started a long time ago.
We got a rack of people.
We have 11,000 plus, 12,000 plus subscribers. And we begin our videos begin like 200, 300 views. So if you have any comments, if you have any like insight, let us know. Drop it. I'm like, why are we getting 300 views? Our son, who is also a YouTuber and an Instagrammer and whatever else, he's like, y'all need to start a new channel. So I don't know. Let us know. We just on here with y'all. We done turned every other live stream off. Let us know. Let us know.
So y'all got any questions out there on YouTube? While we're right here that we can answer really quickly, or anything that y'all want to say, any feedback, any advice, any recommendations that y'all had. Was the sound okay? Oh, how to engage your husband and get him to motivate you.
What you mean by motivate you, Elisa? What do you mean you want to engage your husband and get him to motivate you? Motivate you in what way? I mean, give us a little more information there. Give us a little more information. And while you all are sitting there, for those who are on,
Zoom is on too, though.
Can you stop talking?
I'm sorry, Zoom is on, so they might have some questions as well. Let's check.
Okay, yeah, our Zoom folks. But look, like this video, YouTubers. Can you like it, please? And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. All right, Tabitha. I don't know if you're still on or not, but thank you for watching this evening. And Gary was on, or he is on. Gary, love it.
So were you asking a question?
What? Back on YouTube. No, somebody else asked a question. I think we're getting ready to end this evening. But yeah, I just want to know. Somebody gonna see this video well after the live stream, okay? And I want y'all to tell us, give us some on insight on what we need to do to engage our 12,000 subscribers when we get 300 to 400 views on average. What's up with that?
Tell us what the YouTube algorithm is kind of jacked up, though.
Right? Yeah, but I know we didn't. But I want to hear from some of them. And it may be. Should we start a new channel? What you think? So, Elisa, you gave us a little more information, and you said how to engage your husband and get him to motivate you. And you said, in my career. So I guess I'm going to interpret, and you can tell me if I'm interpreting incorrectly. It sounds as though you are saying that you perhaps in your career want to do some things and maybe perhaps want to take some risks or make some moves that maybe you need a little bit of validation, affirmation, and confirmation on. You know what I mean? You need some support because maybe it's something that you're not used to. Maybe it's something that's new to you. And so your husband is kind of like not giving you a whole lot of energy. I don't know if it's that he's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And just kind of in himself, or if he's just really not understanding what you need. And so I would just say to you to ask for what you need. Always at the end of the day, the bottom line is ask for what you need. It requires great vulnerability to ask for what you need because you're saying like, I feel, whatever, nervous about this. I feel a little anxious in this area. And I want you to kind of give me some encouragement, So I mean, and sometimes people may not give you the answer that you want, and so it requires you to be vulnerable. And so I just would say, ask for what you need, and tell him what you need. Tell him what it looks like. A lot of times, people don't know what encouragement looks like for you. They don't know what motivation looks like for you. Tell them what you need.
Yeah, so is it through his example? I mean, is that where you're looking for the motivation to come from? I mean, truthfully, I think that, you can't necessarily depend on somebody else to motivate you. The motivation has to come from within. And so, ultimately, if he's walking a particular walk and his example is one where, I mean, he's doing the best that he can, then what I would say to you is watch and learn. Watch and learn from that. Now, if he's not doing that, then what you need to do is find somebody who's doing what it is that you're aspiring to do and emulate the behaviors that they use to get into the position that they're in. The sources of motivation don't always necessarily have to come from inside your relationship. You can find those things externally. I'm always on YouTube. A couple of things that I watch, I like to watch Gary V. Any Gary V fans out there? I like to watch E.T. Any E.T. fans out there? I like to listen to Les Brown. I like to listen to a number of different people and what they do. And my wife, she's a brilliant and dynamic speaker. But, she's my wife. So I like to hear a different voice. Right. From at a different time, a different vibrational frequency, because it resonates differently with me.
Yeah.
And so, I hear my wife for one thing, and again, she be dropping gems and knowledge and it be inspiring me. And so I appreciate that. But we get in all sorts of different places. And so it might be the minister at church. It might be me just taking a walk and hearing somebody say something on the radio. It might be a Facebook post. It might be one of your YouTube comments that inspire you. But you just got to be plugged in. You got to be tuned in and be open to receive motivation and the inspiration as it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it might not be from your spouse.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm back to I want to just look. So y'all helping us out with this channel stuff.
My aunt Rod.
My aunt Rod, you've been riding with us for a long time, sis. But look, you said I think people are just more into nonsense these days. This is in response to our question about our views be when we do a video, we get like 300 to 400 views on average, and we have 12,000 plus subscribers. And oftentimes live streams, people don't know that it's on, but we get way more energy on Facebook now, but it used to be YouTube. Mrs. Natural says, no new channel. Everything is awesome. They just don't want to be in tune. Luna Lion says, you said you tuned in late. Luna, all right, go ahead and catch up with us. And I love that name. I said, I don't believe any changes need to be made with the channel or your setup. I don't know, y'all. I'd be like,
you be saying that, but again, it's the YouTube algorithm.
It's not just guys. So one of the things that I just want to say is that over time, my husband and I have, like when we had our baby, we dropped off a little bit. We were not as consistent. So, when you're not as consistent with putting out videos and that kind of thing, then you don't always get some of the preference in terms of putting your stuff out there. I'm just like, it can't be the 12. I mean, what do y'all get notifications when we come on? It can't be that 12,000 people get notifications and only 11 people show up. That just don't even
Everybody not getting it.
Everybody not getting it. Like something is, and some of that may have to do with, how we have, there's a science to everything. So anyway, we appreciate your feedback. We appreciate your feedback. And I feel you. People don't like to think anymore in general. People like all of the drama. So I do feel you on that. It takes too much energy. I get you on that. So we just appreciate each and every one of you. We're always available to you. You can always hit us up by going to any of our websites. reallovehelp.com is about our services. blackloveandmarriage.com is our blog. TheRealRelationshipExperts.com is also about services and has, videos on there as well. And then you can hit us up by emailing us at askus@beintentional.com. That's ask us, ASKUS at the letter B, intentional.com. All right, guys, this has been really, really, really good. I really, really appreciate every one of you. We appreciate the energy. Just remember that everything that you want to manifest, everything that you want to do, every single thing that you want to have happen is really up to you. It's all about perception, whether it's individually or in your relationship. All right. I think we just got a new question. And so this was not here before. We're going to answer this question, and then we'll be done for the evening. And this question says, can you address how to be supportive of a survivor of child abuse as a partner? So, you know, I would just say this, how to be supportive of a survivor of child abuse. So the important thing is always to make sure that you are attuned with where they are and what they need. And really, whether we're talking about child abuse or we're talking about another traumatic issue, at the end of the day, you know, you really, 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 really have to ask people what they need. You have to ask them what they need. We you know, because it's not as if everybody who's suffered from child abuse have the same kinds of issues popping up as an adult. Some people have done a great deal, and some people have done kind of sort of some work, right? Some people have been impacted in a much more heavy way in certain areas and others not so much. Some people see some of the results of that child abuse coming up in their sex life, and it really kind of manifests in the bedroom. Others experience that history in terms of past sexual abuse as a child coming up in their ability to connect with their partner and being very guarded and being very closed off. You know, there's something called dissociation where you dissociate. And so, you know, your feelings that the feelings that someone would have in the moment of something very emotion driven or very emotional, they don't have it in that moment. They're just kind of together because they've learned to dissociate, because oftentimes at the time the abuse was happening, um, you know, they had to dissociate. And if that happens to you as a child, then you hold on to that place and you do that in other ways. When other traumatic or very intense emotions come to you, you do the same thing, you dissociate. And so there's all kinds of ways that child sexual abuse can show up in a relationship. And it can be very challenging. I just want to say that can be very, very challenging for the person who's partnering with that spouse or that person, you know. So I just want to give you big ups for even asking the question and being concerned about how you can be of a support. But at the end of the day, you have to really ask for what they need and
be patient with them.
Be patient,
Be patient with them in their process. You know, I know it's not easy, but you know, again, it speaks volumes about your level of attunement to even ask this question, because what it's saying to me is that you're sensitive to your partner's history. Not just their touch history, but you're sensitive to their emotional history as well, in terms of what they've experienced. And you know, if you're patient with them in their process, and you don't personalize any rejection that you may experience, but you actually honor them in the space that they're in, allow them to be there, but also encourage the growth and be supportive of the growth, but being patient all along, then what ends up happening is that they build the trust in you that was lost a long time ago.
Yeah. All right, guys. We hope that this has been of help to you. We thank you all for your energy. We just love doing what we do, and we love hearing from every single one of you. So, y'all know what we say. All of these things are good things. All of the energy is good, but none of it is worth a damn thing if we don't stop playing, start pushing ourselves to the next level.
All right, y'all.
Peace, y'all. Bye.